Yo, what's going on, guys? All right, we're back. Unfortunately, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We all aren't very happy. So let's go ahead and get everybody in here. Like I said, I want to keep this like as lighthearted as possible. But when they do stuff like this, it's a little hard. So here come our guests. The one and only KT Kenobi and Ambitano. You guys know them from the other episodes. How you guys doing? How was your week?
Good. The week was good.
Other than Kenobi, the week was good. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't want to waste any time today because I don't want this episode to be like, obviously it's going to be mostly focused on the bad stuff because let's face it, it was just kind of bad. But at the same time, I don't want to trick people into thinking we're going to be like nice today. So let's just get into our ratings. What are you guys rating this episode?
I gave it a 6.
6?
A 5.5.
5. All right, so if I kind of split my rating up, right? So it's a little difficult for me. Watching it like just as a show and not really like pretending like if it wasn't as Star Wars, right? Obviously it is, but just watching it and not paying attention to storyline, pretty decent. I give it like a 7, right? But when you take into the fact that the story does matter, I'm giving this one like a hard 3. Like really bad for me, guys. Like really, really bad. The only reason it's not a 0 is because we still do get a little bit Kenobi with a saber. We still get Leia, and she's still fantastic. She's literally the best part of this whole show so far. But like I said,
her.
Right. Other than the little bit of saber stuff we got and her, like this episode was just atrocious. Let's say hi to everybody in here. What's up, Zachary? Block Boy, what's up? But yeah, all right. So I just rewatched it today. I actually didn't have time to rewatch it other than today. So I literally just rewatched it like 5 minutes ago.
Same.
So I did my whole list as usual. So we'll start going down this.
Sure.
So I won't lie. As soon as this episode started, I was so hopeful because, like you guys know, we talked about our predictions and we've all agreed on like the flashback stuff.
Right.
And it starts off perfect. They didn't even need the let me say hi to my mom. Hey gang. What's up, Mom?
Hi, Mom.
Just say Isaac. All right, what's up, Isaac? But yeah, so like I said, they started off perfectly. I thought we were gonna be I thought we were gonna be spot on. Like I really thought we were because we get him. He's all dazed and confused. Autumn, what's up? But he's all dazed and confused or whatever. So we're like ready to go. I'm like, here come the flashbacks, right? Then we get him and Vader in Bacta, and I'm like, okay, so they didn't do the flashbacks just because he's like all woozy from being hurt, but they're in the Bacta tank now, and they're literally like sensing each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
No flashbacks happen,
Right.
and
I like them like both in the back of tanks and like cool. You said, like sensing each other. I was like, flashback.
No, it was just clips from the recent episode.
Right.
And what stuck with me is that they did a hard pause on when Vader was just staring at the fire, and I'm like, yeah.
How do you guys feel about Reba? We'll get there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, so they don't really do flashbacks, right? And it was literally perfectly set up. Like, okay, it does suck that we have to go in and expect flashbacks, but that's because of what they've done recently. Like that is they made us expect that. They did it with Boba, and it was amazing. Like Boba's flashbacks were awesome. They were fantastic. It wasn't flashbacks to before he was, in the Sarlacc pit, but whatever. We got flashbacks either way.
Right.
The only thing, we could have even gotten just flashbacks to something that happened after Revenge of the Sith, and it would have been fine with me. Obviously, we were hoping for Clone Wars flashbacks, but not getting any at all just kind of takes my mind out of the show. Like it's not connecting in my opinion, especially after this episode. Like it did in episode 3 because, and like the first 2 episodes would be great in the Order 66 and, like the prequel flashbacks, but like we've already seen that. We don't want to, I can go watch Revenge of the Sith with 2 clicks. I just got to go back and scroll over one and it's right there. Right. So like, we want stuff that we haven't seen yet. And the fact that they didn't do it just really bothered me because they even set it up. Like they set it up so perfect just
Right.
to have him in there. And then the other thing about that is like they use Hayden Christensen to promote so much. I mean, like don't get me wrong, there's still 2 episodes, so it's not over
Right.
yet. But they promoted Hayden Christensen so much, and he hasn't done anything except that one little scene.
Yeah.
I read an article, I don't know how true it is, but apparently there's 2 stunt doubles. One stunt double did the fight scene. One stunt double did the other scenes where he's like walking around. The only thing Hayden Christensen has done so far has sat in his castle in the chair. That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but either way, they're not using him. You know what I mean? Other than the back to tanks. Like, it sucks. Amber, I see you freaking out. What do you guys say?
Just I want more Vader. I mean, simple as that. Like, the thing is, and what you were saying with their whole promotional campaign, like, yes, they included the actress of Reva. They've included the little Miss Baby Leia, who has my heart. Sure. But the big return was both Ewan and Hayden together. And that's what they highlighted so much also at Star Wars Celebration. The 2 of them, they were there. They were featured. They were interviewed. Miss Ashley Eckstein met both of them, like, on stage for the first time, face-to-face with Ahsoka Tano herself.
Right. I know, that's what I'm saying, though. Is like,
where
everybody, like, I see it a lot on TikTok. Actually, there is something else I want to talk about on TikTok at the end of the episode. It doesn't have to do with Kenobi, but it is something I want to address. And it's going to be a little bit of beef. But I won't drag you guys. Don't have to like give me your opinions, but I just want to mention it. But we'll get to that later. Don't let me forget, because I might forget. Just remind me at the end. But anyways, I see a lot of people saying like, oh, you guys are just expecting too much. And I agree that was the case with Boba, right? So everybody went in expecting Boba to be crazy and super good. But they also didn't promote that. So there was no reason for us to expect anything for Boba, which I agree with. But it's their fault. They did flashbacks in Boba, and it was a trend in Boba, and it went over mostly well with everybody that I talked to. Everybody liked it. Other than the fact that we got 2 episodes of Mando, but that's besides the point. But it's their fault that we're expecting this stuff. Not only is it not Boba Fett, like Boba Fett's a big character, but let's not get it twisted. Like Anakin and Obi-Wan are the main characters.
Right. It's the show about like 2 of the most iconic characters, and they're just parts that we're not getting. You
pair that with the fact that we already have had flashbacks, and then they're hyping up Hayden Christensen coming back, and then we just barely get any of him in 4 episodes. There's only 6 episodes. And let's not even start on how short this fucking episode was. This shit was like, I normally try not to curse too much on here, but it's fucking
It was
ridiculous.
Really short.
38
really fucking
minutes?
Ridiculous. It felt so rushed. Like every scene, it just felt like it was going by way too quick.
It was like Cocomelon. You ever see Cocomelon? There's like a scientific study behind Cocomelon where everything's like 7 seconds, and that's what keeps the kids engaged. It felt like that for me.
We refuse to show my daughter that, because that shit definitely has some like hidden evil.
It's something. No, and I wanted to mention no, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say on the topic of lowering and hiring expectations and stuff, I did a poll on my Instagram, and one person commented, I don't know, I don't understand where the shows are going. Kind of blame myself for those expectations. You can't blame yourself because it's what they promoted.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm comparing it to Boba, because they didn't promote that in Boba. We expected it. I won't say me, because I didn't expect it. But for the people that did expect like Boba to be badass, I see why, because he was like painted to be that, and like we get that from like legends and stuff. But in canon, he really doesn't do much. So that's why I was kind of like, that's back when I was on Funny Sci-Fi podcast, and we were talking about that. I even said that to them. I was like, hey, like he didn't really do much in the original trilogy, so I didn't go in expecting him to be like this crazy badass. He definitely was. Yeah. Like I was okay with Boba's performance, especially in the finale. Like I thought he was pretty badass in the finale. But you can't compare it to this in that sense, because this is Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like we've seen them fight. We know how they are. Like Revenge of the Sith fight is like the best fight of all time in any movie. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's only so much you can blame of the 10 years being passed. There's only so much you can put on that of, it's because they're slow. It's because they're out of whack. It's because it's been 10 years. Like, but we're in episode 4 of 6. Yep. Stuff has got to go.
Right. Let's catch up on some of these. catch up on some of these comments here real quick before we continue. I hate that Vader didn't chop Reva's hand off. I just hate that. We'll get to that part in a little bit.
Yeah.
Missed opportunities for sure.
Yeah.
More helicopter, Andy.
Not yet.
I agree. I agree with your mom.
Let me get to it first. Let me wind it up.
I honestly agree. They may save it for the finale. Flashbacks is what they're talking about. I love that when Boba killed Cad Bane, he stood over him with the staff. Face and looked amazing. Yeah. General KT, I'm your father.
Oh,
is that your dad? Yes,
yeah.
Sir. We love that. I was so happy that they used New Zealand actor for it. For what? That's dope, though. But anyways, all right. So we'll go. I kind of talked about this. Kenobi and Vader were definitely sensing each other in the back to tank, which I thought was super cool. And then it starts off horrible. Like it started, like I said, I was really hopeful. It started off really good. I was like, here come the flashbacks. We don't get them. So I'm immediately let down. But then not only that, Kenobi gets out of the back to tank after being in it for it. They make it seem very short. You know what I mean? It's pretty much instant. He gets out and he's just perfectly fine. You know, he's not like really limping or anything. That he gets up and he's talking to these guys and they're like, oh, well, you can barely walk. But he's walking fine. He literally says to the guy, or the guy says to Kenobi, he's like, you can barely walk. What do you mean you can barely walk? He's literally moving around perfectly fine. Yeah. He should not be able to move this whole episode.
Yeah.
Besides that, I really do like his new robes. They're pretty sick. I might have to cosplay those. Those are dope.
Yes. Yes, very much so.
But continuing, another thing, like it's going to be one after another, guys. Like it's going to be one bad thing after another. Why does Reva think Leia knows anything?
Now.
Why would Leia know where they're going? Why would Leia know anything about the path? She doesn't help them. She's just a kid getting saved.
Let me one-up you there in this situation. What could have made this scene with the what ifs? What could have happened? This is what I had in my head. Reva interrogating Leia. She comes to the point where boom, 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 interrogation. At the end, she goes, now you will know real pain, right?
Right.
What if at that point she took her to the interrogation room or the, needle thing, whatever it is. Boom, Vader walks in. Then Obi senses that, walks in, Vader and Obi in front of Leia battling it out. That would have been a complete circle for me.
That would have been
right.
That would have been badass. But yeah, that's the thing is like they don't really explain it, but I don't even understand why Reva thinks Leia would know anything. That's my point.
Right.
Is like, what's the point of interrogating this kid that has no idea what's going on?
Years old.
Leia has no idea what planet they were on. She has no idea what planet they were going to. All she knows is that these people are trying to save her from the Empire. That's it. So so I get asking her in the beginning, like I understand like trying to find out. But then, like you said, now you're going to feel what real pain feels like. You're going to torture a kid and you don't even know if she knows anything. Like, I get that they're evil and they're the inquisitors, like they're doing whatever they need to do. But like, no one's like, that just doesn't make sense. How is Leia going to know anything about it? So like, in my opinion, it's stupid. And then we get she tries to mind probe her and nothing happens, which is like, I understand it for story like arc. Obviously, Leia eventually becomes force sensitive. I don't think they should have ever done that. They should have just left it as is. But that's what we got. So they have to kind of make it make sense.
Right. Because now
the fact that it doesn't work though is actually kind of cool. It just goes to show how powerful the Skywalkers are.
Right.
So that was okay with me. We go back to Kenobi and then talking about the base, and they say this base is impenetrable, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
We already know in Fallen Order Cal Kestis goes, right? Let me skip down, or before we even skip down, first of all, the base looks boring as fuck compared to does in Fallen Order. Like, it looks way cooler in Fallen Order because, you got the planets in the background. It's not super cloudy. It's like way prettier looking. Why is there a giant open hole in this impenetrable base that you can literally just swim up to? That's only guarded by one stormtrooper.
Let's take it back one step. why do they make it so notable that this base doesn't have shields because it's so impenetrable? Why are they making it so oblivious, let alone have the worst and the most stupid stormtroopers patrolling this area?
Yeah, we'll get to that too.
Where do you?
We'll get to that too. Yeah.
There is, we know.
Yeah,
we know.
But that's my thing. Is like, okay, so you can make the argument that like the Death Star in the original trilogy has a huge flaw like that as well. But at the same time, that's like a battle station. That's a lot of stuff to worry about. This is just a base. Like, what is that hole's purpose? It's an exhaust port on the Death Star. You know what I mean? So it has a purpose. Why is there just a hole? It makes no sense. And I may be wrong, but doesn't Cal get in the same way in Fallen Order? Doesn't he swim in the same hole?
He does.
5 years go by and you haven't fixed it?
Oh, wait, does he really?
I'm pretty sure he gets in the exact same way. 5 years?
They make it nobody's stupid enough to go there.
I'm pretty sure the second Death Star probably didn't have that same exhaust port. You know what I mean?
Right.
Probably not. No.
It is what it is, man. It just really took me out of it. It's just a start. So I'm already just disappointed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hopefully they can redeem it, right? And it starts getting good again. I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Kenobi starts uses the Force to distract the two stormtroopers, which is cool because in a lot of games there's stuff like that, abilities that they can use to make something fall over, and then the people get distracted or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool. Then I wrote here, torture a kid who may or may not know anything. We already talked about that a little bit, so we won't go back over that. But then, like I said, it was getting better. We get the scene with all the frozen or dead Jedi. What do you guys think? Do you think they're dead or you think they're frozen?
I think
they're frozen.
They are. That's a great question. Well, if it's Vader's, there was no penetrable wounds or visible wounds on them from what I could see. But then again, you think about the youngling that we saw, and that is probably it might be a resemblance of Order 66 potentially, if that was one of Vader's first victims.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't lean one way or the other too much right now because we don't really know.
Right.
But when I was watching, I will say I did think they were just frozen, and I thought what was going to happen is Kenobi was just going to release them, and it was going to be like that's who helped them get out, right?
Too.
The whole army.
Right, like he gets all these people. It's like when someone breaks into a jail in a movie or something, and you let all the prisoners out as a distraction, right? You know what I mean?
No,
that would have been cooler than what we got.
Did you guys think of the comparison between that and what Mando found in season 2?
Because so I didn't write that, but I agree. I think it has something to do with the Emperor. And
I believe so
cloning.
too, and trying to find force sensitivity or
to find a vessel,
something.
And kind of taken aback, right? And so to the scene with the underwater hole. Of course, my first thought right after that was why didn't he put on the stormtrooper armor?
Thank you.
And then secondly is that in that hallway scene, while he did hide and he was able to use the Force to distract the stormtroopers, how did they not see him?
They were right in front of him.
Right.
They were.
Wait a second.
He was right in front of him.
I forgot to write this, but I noticed the first time when I was rewatching it. I had my family here, my mom and my uncle, so I wasn't paying attention too much. But he is not even wet when he gets out of the hole. Did you guys see that? He's not even wet.
I forgot about that.
I didn't write it down, but I just remembered because you mentioned it. He just swims through a whole ocean, and he comes out perfectly dry. What is going on, dude?
He pulled a Loki.
Yeah, I guess so.
He did.
He's Aang from Avatar.
But just... my boyfriend was pissed at the fact that he's like,
right. Yeah.
Stormtrooper's like, what?
So yeah. Anyways, like I said, it's getting better because we get all those frozen or dead Jedi, whatever, and then we get the Starkiller scene. So I don't know if you guys know, if you guys ever played not Fallen Order, Force Unleashed. There's a cut scene where Starkiller is in the dark and he kills the stormtroopers almost identically. It's pretty much to the T. Almost the same scene. That was badass.
Oh, cool.
The one issue I had with it kind of looked like the lightsaber was bouncing off the stormtrooper's armor. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it's not really. It doesn't look like it's going through them. It kind of looks
I did not catch that.
like bouncing off of them. It's really weird. Doesn't make any sense because lightsabers cut through metal, and this is not Beskar.
No, this
Stormtroopers
is not
are not wearing
Beskar.
Beskar. So,
but when he ignited and then disignited, he went.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
So yeah, the dark scene was like super sick. That's when I was like, all right, here we go. Like we're getting something. Like we're gonna get him fighting Reva or the
Vader,
5th Inquisitor or something. I was like, I don't know about. In my head, I was like, I don't think we're gonna get a Vader scene here. But I was hoping for some sort of lightsaber contact, right? Nothing.
I would have loved
not getting any of it. Anyways, so then he needs his distraction is Tala, basically saying something to Reva and getting her out of the room. But Reva leaves when the alarms go off. This lady she's getting taken to the room or the interrogation room, and she's walking next to 2 stormtroopers, and she turns to the one on her left and goes, and he fucking gets knocked out.
I didn't even see that. I need to go back and see that.
She literally slaps the stormtrooper.
I need to go back and see that.
She slaps him on the head, and that's it, and he's done. And then the other one, she grabs the helmet and like pulls him down and then hits him. What are we doing? It's a slap? Are you joking?
Can I backtrack this a little bit more before that happens? Just the interaction between what's her name?
Tala.
I
think it's Tala.
The interaction between Tala and Reva. I am now seeing a pattern in Reva's character, which is fine because it's probably who she is. But she'll go, "That's who you think you are, unless you're lying." And it's like this certain like, okay, whatever, it's fine. Like it's part of her character. I'll accept that. But it's why don't you take people for their word?
Right.
And then let her go to the stormtroopers and
get smacked on the head. It really makes no sense because we go from I think it was in Mando, but it's when the armorer fights the stormtroopers in the original thing. She hits him with like a stick and it shatters the helmet and knocks him out. That makes sense, but you're gonna tell me she just slaps this guy on the head?
She wanted to play Bop It.
Yeah, like, what are you doing, bro? She does pull on the other guy's helmet, so
this was
just absolutely ridiculous.
Bop It episode.
Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so moving on. We get more Kenobi. We get more Kenobi with a saber in the hallway, and that was also fantastic. That was like the other best scene in the whole show. Just to see him like
in the hallway scene,
yeah, man, he's doing his thing, like deflecting blaster bolts, and it just really felt like Obi-Wan again. Like the moves he was doing, like it was new stuff that we really haven't seen. Like when the one stormtrooper comes up behind him and he hits like a weird move and deflects it, like super sick.
Because while we didn't get them, like that was pure Clone Wars Kenobi. Like,
exactly. But let me remind you, this is the same guy who just got burnt in fire and sat in a back tank for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I want to re-mention that because that's a theme through the whole episode. He's literally perfectly fine. The rest he doesn't go like this ever, like to like wince in pain. He's never like limping. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like this is it's already a big plot hole because he's not hurt anymore. Like, what was the point of episode 3 and burning him if he's not going to be hurt? Like, what is going? Like, what are we doing? That's the biggest thing for me. Like, what was the point of episode 3 other than to scare Kenobi? If he was going to get hurt, he should be hurt, not perfectly fine.
You know what Vader should have done over that fire?
Huh?
Helicopter fly right over.
Burn, baby, burn.
I don't know. I think if I was Kenobi, I'd be more scared of Vader flying on a helicopter blade than getting burned in fire.
That would scare the crap out of me. When Vader was.
But I will say, well, I'll wait to say this because it's coming up. So, anyways, he's still got the moves, like you said. That's what I wrote. But like the Clone Wars, like you said, that's Clone Wars Kenobi right there, man. Super good. And then we finally get Purge troopers. And they do absolutely nothing. They are literally the same thing as a normal stormtrooper, even though they're supposed to be like highly trained, better armor, better weapons. They don't do shit. They literally are there for 5 seconds. But we do see what I believe is them trying to tell us that Kenobi is reconnecting with the Force. So his character arc so far is pretty good. Like Kenobi as himself, his arc is pretty good. The story is shitty, but his arc is good because we see him struggling, and now with him using the Force on the water and then like redirecting it at the stormtroopers, he could barely catch Leia in the second episode, but now he's doing that, and that, like water like that low is a lot of pressure, so it's definitely a lot of Force.
So I have a thing about that. Like, so they mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, like, this base is impenetrable. They made that very clear.
I didn't even think about this.
One blaster hit broke the glass. Like,
it popped it.
Yeah.
One blaster hit broke the glass.
Maybe Tala walked up and smacked it, and it shattered the glass.
They twisted it and pulled it anyway.
If you're saying it's an impenetrable bit, like,
yeah,
base,
you're right.
Why not make bulletproof, blaster-proof glass? Like,
right, you're right.
Oh,
You're definitely right. I mean, you could say the same thing about their armor, though. Like, why do they wear armor if one blaster bolt can kill them? You know what I mean? It's like
if a bop is gonna
you know what I mean?
make her pass out.
So yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Let me pull up some more of these comments. We kind of started going pretty fast.
But
We'll see.
One thing I will credit Disney on is the fact that they are making more of those gruesome scenes be shown. So after he closes the door, you see floating stormtroopers and all that fun stuff. So I think I will give Disney that as far as more gore.
I definitely agree. So to play Boba, the New Zealand actor, yeah, I agree. He's sick. He actually does the voice of Moana's dad in Moana. So
he's amazing.
I love
Great
him.
singer.
I think it's funny though because people like see him as Boba now, and I'm like, wait a minute, you guys realize he was Jango Fett first, right? Just want to make sure you understand that. Because in my eyes, he'll always be Jango Fett, and Daniel Logan will be Boba. But anyways, didn't they promise 6 episodes? We're gonna be an hour. They ripped us off. Yeah, they did. Why would you think a 10-year-old would know what planets they were on and where Kenobi is now? When I was 10. I knew what city I lived in. That's it. Yeah.
I don't know to count to 5.
Yeah, right. They should have had Purge troopers guarding the weak points of the base. I agree. Yes, Cal got in the same way as Kenobi. They are frozen. I read an article that said they would use them to lure other survivors in of Order 66 through the Force. Got it.
Interesting.
Okay.
Same as what happened with Ezra and Kanan sensing
that's
Luminar is alive.
I was gonna say
that. Yeah.
Special new robe, waterproof robes, but we don't have blaster-proof glass.
Burn-proof.
Grass. Yeah, right. Yeah, that probably would have been better.
Right.
Should Obi-Wan and Leia end up together? I think they foreshadow it in the end of episode 4 of Kenobi. What do you mean end up together? Like,
what do you mean? They've been together this whole time.
Yeah. I also see some fans are trying to trend. Yeah, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to.
We're not even going to go into that. Okay.
We don't talk about Groot. No.
Yeah. No.
Ew.
No, we're good. Definitely not.
You're done. You're done.
But yeah, so we'll continue. In my opinion, I see him as reconnecting in the Force because he's able to do this now. It doesn't really seem like he's struggling too much, but like that's comparing it to him just catching Leia. Like he had such a problem with that. Which some people might have an issue with. I haven't heard anybody talking about it, but like I think it's good story for Kenobi.
That was fine.
Yeah. And then we get to the absolute worst part of the episode. You're gonna tell me that this impenetrable base has these alarms going off, right? What do alarms mean in this situation, right? Alarms mean a prisoner escape. Intrusion, like something along those lines, right?
Right.
What happened?
You're going to tell me this base goes on lockdown, and then somehow Kenobi finds this giant jacket that no one else is wearing. No one else is wearing this type of uniform. And then you're going to tell me that
little kid into the movie theater.
He walks out in a disguise with a huge lump on the side of him, the size of a kid who they may or may not be looking for.
You know what this reminds me of? In The Rise of Skywalker, like the very last scene, everybody is running for no reason. You ever see the background characters?
Right.
They're just back and forth, and everyone's aimless, have no direction, and then Rey's just coming in. Yeah. Right? Whatever. But now it's
Well,
Like,
so it's funny you say
life.
that because I didn't write this down either, but I saw it when I rewatched it. Right after they're walking out. So besides the point of that being the dumbest possible way they could have escaped, because you're surrounded by thousands of stormtroopers that obviously know something's going on. They're getting looked at. Like they're looking. You don't see a giant weird shape in this jet. Like it doesn't make any sense. But anyways, why? Let me go back a little bit. Why does Reva why is she the only one that knows? You know what I mean? Like they don't communicate in any way.
I see you.
Like it just makes no
She really
sense.
went, here you are.
But what I was gonna say is when she calls them out and they turn around,
It's only then.
most of the stormtroopers pull their guns up, right? They're like, all right, we're gonna point our guns. But then there's still 2 or 3, like I don't even know what they were. I couldn't tell what they were wearing because it goes by so fast. That just walk right past Kenobi, right behind him.
Like I'm saying.
Like in between the stormtroopers pointing guns at them and Kenobi, they walk right in between them. I'm like, what is going on here? They don't see what's happening. Like it's like they're just blind, I guess. I mean, they obviously didn't see Kenobi walking out with a giant lump on his side.
Someone's gonna cosplay trenchcoat Kenobi 100%. I'm just saying.
Yeah, them and their kid, and they can just pretend like they don't have a kid.
Fantastic idea.
That is a good idea.
Fantastic.
That's the first thing I thought when I saw that. I'm like,
So
oh man, that'd be
dude.
interesting cosplay.
It literally I just don't. Okay, so obviously when they write the story, right, it's not one person who writes it and then it's on the screen. Like it may be one person that writes it and then it goes through other people. Like other people proofread it and they check it. Fine, like that gets through all them, right? Whatever. But then they get to filming. The director is on set and they go, okay, here we go, action. And then you have to put Leia, this little kid, inside his robe, and then they walk past all the stormtroopers. How did the director or how did anybody in the writing team or how did Ewan McGregor or any Leia be like, hey, wait a minute, this is fucking stupid. This makes no sense. This would never happen. Like, what is Kenobi using the Force to make sure that all these stormtroopers are just blind? Like, what is going on? It doesn't make sense. Dude, it literally makes no fucking sense, bro. Like, how are you going to tell? Like, it literally just ruined the whole episode for me more than it was already ruined because it just doesn't make sense. It literally it would never happen in real life or a fictional world. Like, it just doesn't, in no universe that makes any sense unless it's like Marvel and they have cloaking powers. Yeah. What is this? A Harry Potter cloth that they put on? They're invisible, or Lord of the Rings? Or is this Lord of the Rings where they hide under it and it looks like a rock? Like, what are we fucking doing? This is supposed to be serious, and this is supposed to be like a heart-wrenching show. Like, this is the struggle of Kenobi, hence why it's called Kenobi. And we're getting dumb shit like this. It's stupid.
The least they could have done is have him pick her up, and then he just
that's what I'm saying.
A little bit more of a Santa belly. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Put her on your back, like a piggyback.
Something.
So you just look like a hunchback, or that's what I'm saying.
Do something.
No one sees her feet scurrying along. Don't even get me started on the fact that she has to basically run because he's walking pretty fast and he has huge legs compared to her. No one notices it at all.
Go to the Disney parks, buy a Yoda backpack, you strap it on, and just hook her on there.
But that's what I'm saying is not only we only see them on screen like that for a couple seconds, but they were so deep into the base. Like Kenobi's at the bottom of the base when he saves Leia. He doesn't go up or down in an elevator or anything that we know of. So they obviously walk through the whole base like that. What? And what was their plan? They were going to just get back in her ship and leave? They were on lockdown. What was their plan? It would have made
if best for an escape. They could have just gone to the very top of the freaking tower, and then
what I was saying is the only way they escape this after they go on lockdown is they use those pods that the Inquisitors use. They go and they override them or something, and then boom, the pods fly out and they get sent to a random planet or something. Whatever. I don't care what they
do for that. Yeah.
You know what I want to do to all these people? Bop it.
Smack him
and pull some sense into this man.
Chala smacked that one stormtrooper so hard that she blinded the rest of them.
Thank you.
Just from the shock wave, like like a Hulk smash.
Pulled a Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah,
my
pretty much.
friends.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't. This is like, what's that horror movie where they can't look at anything?
Bird Box.
Yeah.
Bird Box pulled one of those. Like,
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous.
She's a little kid from Bird Box.
Oh.
Leia is?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't. Oh,
Really?
yeah. Leia is. Yeah, she's
Very
older
cool.
now, but she's the daughter from Bird Box.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
Well,
go her.
Took more of the blindness to the screen.
Yeah. Need your role, seriously.
No, she is.
Great.
She definitely is the best part of the show.
It's just
she is.
That's sad to say, though. You know what I'm saying? That's sad to say. Like the fact that we're sitting here saying Leia is the best part of the Kenobi show. What are we doing?
Thank you.
Like,
no,
so annoying.
Mind you, this is not any hate on the actors, actresses, anybody involved.
No.
This is directly sold towards the writing and the content creation of this.
That's what I'm saying.
And nobody's saying anything on set, or whether it's in their contracts or they can't say anything. This is Disney. This is Star Wars direction. This is bopping, twisting, and pulling it on the head of trying to put some sense. I had somebody comment in my poll saying none of the writers watched Star Wars prior to writing this.
So it's funny that you say that, because I heard that the main writer on this show hasn't even seen Revenge of the Sith. And like I said, I don't check my sources. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100% true. But it's said that they haven't seen it, and it makes sense if they haven't seen it, because they don't know what they're fucking doing.
Meanwhile, there are also articles that state that both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, blah, blah, blah.
She can't even talk.
No, watched and thank you. Watched and studied Clone Wars and rewatched the prequels and all the Star Wars to study for these roles, and this is what they're given?
Right.
I'm sorry, they spent all this time doing what they should do as actors, not even the screenwriters of these things. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to do their best to portray their characters within the confined, iffy writing of what they're giving to them. They spent
I feel like they could have just let Hayden and Ewan just write the show, and it would have been better.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even get paid to do that.
Kind of go off that, right? It's like if you read any of like the articles after Rise of Skywalker came out, or any of the sequels came out, like sorry to bring that up, but it's after all that filming, like Mark Hamill admitted that like that's not where he wanted Luke Skywalker to go, and he broke down on set. So it's like I feel like it's the same thing. And in terms of like the the writing direction or the directors like not watching any of the previous Star Wars content, kind of to switch fandoms, I feel like it's kind of like Multiverse of Madness. Like the guy who directed it, Raimi, he didn't see WandaVision. See, he wrote it, but he never saw WandaVision.
It's crazy though, because that movie still came out pretty good in my opinion.
Right.
It seemed to fit into the universe. This doesn't fit into Star Wars at all. The first 3 episodes they did. I won't lie, they were fine. Fitting wise, like they seem like Star Wars. Like it felt like Star Wars to me. Other than the music, I know I mentioned that, but like that's a totally different thing. Like being immersed in the universe is different than hearing the music. It just adds to it. But like this episode doesn't even feel like Star Wars. It really doesn't.
And to take a step further, it's on Disney, Star Wars, and the directors to even have the power to bring Ewan and Hayden back.
Right.
Only to put them through this.
Right. It sucks, man. I really hope that the last 2 episodes are so good that we like completely just blow over this when we look at the grand scheme of the season. But like my hope for it is literally none. Like I'm almost not even excited to see next episode if it's going to be anything like this.
Did you guys hear that they might do a spinoff of Reva's character for her own show?
I'm okay with that, but like I said,
that's fine.
I'm okay with it as long as they stop focusing too much on her and Kenobi.
Don't mess it up.
They can't really mess it up. Anything's going to be better than this.
But this is what although the last episodes surrounding Mandalorian of the Book of Boba were amazing because we got some great content.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the Book of Boba, not Mandalorian.
Right.
So I don't want them to pull.
I
don't want them to pull a Mandalorian in the Boba Fett show for Reva and the Obi-Wan show because Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've waited years to see this. And what do? We get a mini-me, like, and a person under a cloak. And what do I want to do?
Right.
Pop it, twist it, pull it, rewrite it, study it.
So, like, my whole thing though is
spin it.
I agree with what you said about the Boba thing, because I even posted a TikTok where I was like, I don't know how you guys are happy with this episode, and everybody like freaked out in my comments and freaked out on me and was like, what do you mean this episode about Mando was super sick? And I'm like, I'm not saying the episode was bad.
No.
I'm just saying, how are you happy that we literally just wasted a whole episode in a 7-episode series with literally no Boba? How are you going to have a Boba show and focus one whole episode on nothing to do with him? If they would have just cut that episode out and put that at the beginning of Mandalorian season 3 and then had Grogu show up in Boba, sure, cool, boom.
Right.
You know, you get your Mando and Mandalorian. You get your Boba and Boba. We don't need to see that storyline in Boba. And I agree. Mm-hmm. They did good on episode 3. Episode 4, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't bad because Kenobi and Reva were like intertwined a little bit in this episode, so it didn't feel like they focused too much on her story. But in episode 1 and 2, they really did. I did not care that she was wanting to be the Grand Inquisitor. I don't care that she's arguing with the other Inquisitors. I don't care that she's on Tatooine looking for Kenobi until they interact. Once they interact, it's okay because it affects Kenobi in the Kenobi show.
Right.
So I agree.
It's cutting potential screen time. This episode was already short enough.
Right.
So I have no issue with Reva being shown and whatever, but this cuts time that both Darth Vader could have had. The only thing I saw was him stomping down those corridors, going to force choke Reva for a couple seconds, and then saying, "I have sudden respect for you because you did this."
Yeah, don't even start. We'll get to that in a second. So, like I said, this is where it really went bad for me. Like I said, started off really good, was instantly bad. Started to get a little bit better with the scene, the Kenobi scene with the saber and everything, and then it immediately went right back to bad with them escaping. Where am I at on here? So as they're escaping, not only do they get saved by just 2 random ships. There's no TIE fighters anywhere. There's obviously no shields because there's no reason for shields, even though it's an important place. But they get saved by 2 just random little pilots from this. Can you even call them the rebels at this point? Go ahead.
Reva couldn't have, like, we see Rey Skywalker. Lightning out of the hand, something. Control this.
Well, she's a Skywalker. That's why she can do that.
Again, right? No.
Oh, but we see the Inquisitors, hold the ships and rebels at the same time.
Boom. She couldn't have done that. She couldn't have gone boom, boom, stop the force fire if she's all that powerful, and then.
So I won't lie. I'm glad they didn't do that because she shouldn't be that powerful.
I mean, yeah, but like she.
My thing is. So what I'm getting to in that though is. That's what starts the saving of Kenobi. Then this dude decides, you know what? I'm going to really get into this role of playing an officer. I'm going to pull out a blaster. I'm going to start shooting people instead of taking my saber out and covering Leia and Tala. You know, what would have happened if the Jedi landed on Geonosis in the middle of the Coliseum and all pulled out blasters? They would have been instantly dead, right? Because they would have got shot. They had no cover. There was nothing to hide behind. Kenobi had nothing to hide behind, but he pulls out a blaster instead of a saber that he can block the incoming attacks with. What are we doing, bro? Like, we already got enough Kenobi with saber. Give us more. We've already seen that he can do it. He's not hurt anymore, apparently. So why can't he pull the saber out? You know, if they made him use the blaster
to bring out a battle,
right?
Yeah.
If then he could have fought Reva. But if they would have went with he's hurt and he used the blaster with his other hand, then sure, it would have been acceptable that he's using a blaster. But he's not. He's doing this all with the side that hurts. And he's not showing any signs of being hurt, even though he wasn't in the back for that long. It just makes no sense because you think about it, Anakin got burned, obviously way worse than Kenobi. But Vader, it's been 10 years, and he's been spending time in the back of the tank. Every time Vader isn't in a meeting or he's not seeing somebody or he's not on a mission or something, he's in the back of the tank. That's what he does. You know what I mean? How is he not completely healed by now? If Kenobi can go in for 5 seconds and be perfectly fine.
Right.
So he doesn't pull the saber out. They have no cover and still don't get shot the whole time. They're surrounded and they don't get shot. Like, we all know stormtroopers are bad shots.
But
bro, like, come on. This is the worst we've seen. Like, there's not been a scene worse than this. They're absolutely surrounded, and he doesn't even have a saber out. Like, what the fuck? So, and then my other thing, now Reva is the slowest character in the galaxy. She can't even run across the fucking platform to get to them before they get on the ship. But 2 episodes ago, she's doing backflips and front flips over buildings and getting across a whole city in 5 seconds.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, basically. What is, dude? Like, it just doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't line up.
Parkour.
So, you know, and then we get into the part where she throws the thing at the ship and blows it up. Whatever, you know, that's fine. Like, that's reasonable. That makes sense. Like, that could happen. But poor Wade, poor guy just dies. I don't know why everybody's like freaking out about it, though. We don't even know who he is. Everybody's like, oh my God, rest in peace, Wade. I've seen so many posts about it. Whatever. When I rewatched it, I was like, I wrote Rose's mom. So I was like, I think it would be really funny because people would get so mad if they made this character that's like helping the rebels Rose's mom from the sequels. I just think it'd be hilarious. I thought it was Rose. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wait a second, is this the same actress? It's obviously not, but they look similar. But I was like, it'd be people would be so mad. I wouldn't even care if they did this just because it'd be so funny to see how people react. But if it was Rose's mom, it would be fucking hilarious. Anyways, so joking aside, we get to the other worst scene and arguably the most controversial scene, in my opinion. Vader comes in and I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, let's go, bro. Like, Vader's about to fuck her up. He comes in, he starts choking her. I'm like, yes, like, here we go. We're finally getting this rageful Vader that
please.
You know, obviously we get a little bit of it in episode 3 when he's killing the town folk or whatever. But I'm like, all right, Hayden said, like, this is the scariest Vader we've ever seen. Here we go. Like, now we're really getting it. I'm like, let's go, dude. And at this point, I still didn't realize that the episode was going to be so short. So I thought we had plenty more time because I wasn't checking the time as I'm watching it. I'm, like, really immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, here we go, here we go. And then she just goes, I let them go. And he just stops and puts her down and goes, I put a tracker on them. I underestimated you. I was furious 5 seconds ago.
I was
like, come on. Stop it.
Furious 5 seconds ago, and now I'm good. Like, it just makes no sense.
I was about to pull a helicopter and just go right through the TV, man. I was
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
I was so, it's just such, Vader is one person that doesn't forgive so easily. That doesn't like flip the switch and he's like, oh, okay, no biggie. You're right.
Right.
And he doesn't admit to being right so lightly either.
Right.
Ever. Like you see in the originals, he confronts, I don't know, like Tarkin or whatever, and he's like, what's the status report, right? And like they did the status report. And he still has to force choke somebody because he doubts them or something.
Right.
Never have I seen a switch flipped so easily for a character, and then he just says, I underestimate you. You have my respect and blah, blah, blah.
So
Vader doesn't respect anybody.
Let me bounce off of you on that a little bit too, because when he force chokes the Imperial officers and stuff like that, that's like strangers to him. He doesn't really know who they are. Right. He doesn't really care about them. But he hates the Inquisitors. He fucking hates the Inquisitors. Like, he doesn't like them. No. The fact that he just instantly lets her go doesn't do anything. That he doesn't fucking hurt her at all. Like, what are we doing, bro? This is not rageful Vader. This is not the most pissed Vader we've seen. He should have been like, bro, you let Kenobi go again? You're dead. Like, you're done. And then she should have either fucking got away or died. Not this bullshit like, oh, I must have underestimated. No, bro. Like,
what he should have done.
Yeah, he doesn't respect anyone.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No. That was my own thought.
I was just going to say, what he should have done, if you really want to go with this route of having her feel respected. No,
he should have killed her. That's what he should have done.
But if you want to keep her alive, for the sake of keeping her alive, because she's going to have her own spin-off show. It's going to be great. For the sake of this, he should have, boom, blah, 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 let them get away, did a tracker, took her, slammed her against something, and says, "What do you mean?" or something like that. Not like instant gratification. Just puts her in a position of like, "What are you talking about?"
She could have lied. She literally could have just lied.
Thank
Even
you.
if the tracker wasn't real, she could have just been like, "Yeah, I put a tracker on them." And Vader just lets her go, and now she can just run away and hide and become part of the like. No, just no. It literally like it doesn't fit. Like that's what I'm saying. The whole episode as a whole doesn't fit, but especially this scene, it does not make sense. This is not Vader. Like
it's not.
This is obviously the stunt double because this is not the Vader we know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Real quick before we continue, I want to catch up on more of these comments. The Empire is so stupid. Yeah, definitely. I think it would give the relationship in OT more depth. I mean, Leia wouldn't call her ex-boyfriend for help if he wasn't in. Okay, yeah, relax.
Wait, why are we going back? Yeah, why are we going back into that? Like,
can you guys see all the comments? I don't even want to pull this next one up. It's a little weird.
I can only see we can only see what you pull up.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna skip that one.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Facts.
Can I? Who is Grieger's Dram? Does anybody know who that is?
No.
All right, well, they're going in timeout because that was weird. I'll tell you guys what it was after.
Okay.
I should have blocked that comment. I didn't see it until now. How do you write a show? And we already read that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Book of Boba Fett has been the only new Star Wars content that we've had. Whoa! I had like a seizure. Really made me feel like I was in the Star Wars universe. I agree.
Yeah.
I was upset. He used a blaster instead of a saber too. Yep.
Yes.
I don't feel intimidated by Reva. I feel like I'm supposed to, but I just don't.
Thank you.
Just like y'all said, bad
right.
writing. Yeah, she's not scary. Like if they would have swapped her and the fifth brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the fifth brother is crazy. Like he scares me, even though he's nicer. Like even though he's nicer to people,
he got a base.
He's just kind of scary. You know what I mean? And then OMG, he put Reva down, and I was so mad. Yeah,
I was just.
Kind of the point on that one comment, right? Like aside from like the couple of scenes where we did see like a bit of like Vader's anger or rage, like through the town or burning Kenobi, I feel like there's a lot like in all the episodes that we've gotten so far. I feel like there's a lot of wasted opportunities for Vader to actually like release his full anger and everything. Especially that one scene. Like we should have seen Reva fucking thrown to part of my language.
No, you're allowed to this episode.
Okay, we should have seen fucking Vader throw her against the wall, choke her, let her down.
It's not that type of movie, or it's not that type of show.
Yeah, no, it's just like
I'm just kidding.
But there's gonna be more anger with it.
But Disney has the audacity now to show floating bodies or Reva killing somebody,
kids getting killed,
Stormtrooper getting cut in half,
a kid being choked to death. Like they'd show that, but not a significant character.
Yep.
Not at all. Nothing to her. Nope.
Yeah, all I wrote for that is Vader would have killed her. I didn't write anything else. Like that is literally it.
Now,
this is the second time. You don't get two chances, let alone, or you don't even get one chance with Vader, let alone three. This is her third chance at this point. This doesn't happen, especially if you're an Inquisitor. He hates the Inquisitors, bro. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, she should be dead already. That's all I'm going to say on that anymore. Kenobi and Leia, it ends on a pretty good note. Kenobi and Leia, the scene where they're in the ship is absolutely adorable.
Sweet. I was sweet.
It is.
Like
I said,
I love that scene.
I have a daughter. She's 2. And, Kenobi's probably like, what, 40, 50 in this? Probably like around there.
Yeah.
I'll be like 30 to 33 when my daughter's 10. So, it's like super sentimental. And it was so cute. It makes sense that she names her son Ben now.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But yeah, so that's all I had written down. Yeah.
I know. Well, because I knew there was a dial between Kenobi and Solo, but I never put it together. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I will say that is one thing that I do like about the show is that it makes more sense now that she calls on him in A New Hope.
That's fine.
We could talk about plot holes and why she called him or stuff like that, but it does make more sense now, in my opinion. Like, it really just connects that more. Like, that is one thing that is connecting. As much as we're not really connecting to the prequels and the characters that we know from there, it does make sense for the original trilogy. Other than Vader.
Right.
You know,
I love the balance.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I love the balance and the mesh between the prequels and the originals coming through.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Kenobi's story arc is good. I can see how he's getting to the Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I didn't write this either, but the Leia grabbing his hand, I feel like that's just turning Kenobi into the more hopeful person he is as Ben Kenobi in A New Hope. Because it's giving him something to fight for again. But as we saw in the first 2 episodes, like, he fights for Luke, but at the same time he doesn't have a connection with Luke, so like you don't get that extra oomph in the dire moments. You know what I mean? That's why, like, if they fight, obviously they're supposed to fight again. You know, that would make more sense on like how he beats Vader, because like Leia's in immediate danger, and now he has this bond with Leia. And that gives, like, you know, it's like an adrenaline type thing. Like, you have that reason to fight, and it just helps you. That's how movies are, and that's how real life is. You know what I mean? People who are in situations like that go through a lot to make sure what bad stuff is going to happen doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And that's just going to help them. So I do like that. But like I said, Vader, I don't have an issue with him other than the Reva scene. Other than that, he's been perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense where he goes in A New Hope, like how he becomes what he is in A New Hope. But they just, I don't know, in total, they just really messed up in this episode.
That's what, because after this episode, like, I think I was thinking, like, today when I was rewatching it, I don't know where they're gonna go with like the last 2 episodes, right? Because like, while there is a rumor out there that they may potentially do one more season, but at the same time, I don't know what they're going to do with the last 2 episodes. And this might just be my own thought, but like, I thought that we were going to get more of Luke, but I guess, like, with your point before, like with her having the connection with Obi-Wan, her calling on him, that it makes a lot more sense now. But like, my thought before was just like, if we were going to see any more of Luke at all.
Right. Yeah, I think they like confirmed that we weren't going to get a lot of Luke. But it was a rumor before that there was going to be a lot of Leia, which I'm okay with. Like,
that's
it makes
fine.
Sense,
no, that's fine. You know what's going to make, you know what I don't want to happen these next 2 episodes is now finally Luke and Leia, not Luke, Obi-Wan and Leia are together. He has her, takes her back to her father, whatever. What I don't want happening is, for some reason, Reva coming in, taking Leia again, and that's the premise of the final episode as a 3rd time. If that happens,
it's stupid.
I'm helicoptering through my roof.
So,
like, I'm done.
Okay, so I was gonna say I don't have predictions, because this is about the time when we get into our predictions anyway. I was gonna really say I don't have any, because I don't know what they're gonna. They didn't set it up for anything. But now that I'm thinking about it, the only thing I can even see happening that would make sense to fix any of this at this point is Kenobi or somebody notices that there's a tracker, right? And goes, you know what? We don't have a tracker, but they're going to keep chasing us no matter what. We need to set up a trap or an ambush, right? And this is how this is what I'm hoping goes down at this point, because my gears are turning right now. This is like, I didn't have this planned at all. I just thought of this. So the only, like, if they go back to Alderaan, Reva and the Inquisitors are going to know, because there's a tracker. And if they don't see the tracker and they don't notice that the tracker's there, how are we going to get into A New Hope? Because at that point, Leia and Bail are just huge targets. You know what I mean? Like, they can't just lay low now. You know what I mean? Like, the Empire knows who Leia is. So, like, how do we get from this Leia to the Leia in Rogue One that, you know, starts the rebel attack on Scarif and gets the plans? They already know she's a target, so that should never happen. But what I'm hoping is that they see the tracker, and they set up some sort of ambush, and this is when Kenobi is going to have to fight Reva or fight the Inquisitors and Vader, possibly. That's the only thing I really got. Like I said, I did not have any predictions before this, other than that thought now, just because they really don't give you anything. Like they left off with a good cliffhanger after the second episode with the Inquisitor dying, the Grand Inquisitor dying. They left off on a perfect cliffhanger in episode 3, if you ask me. Kenobi getting hurt and having to go back to tank. It was perfect. And then they just dropped the ball. This episode, they don't really give you anything. Like I said, I'm almost not even excited. It was perfect to see like what's going on after this. What about you guys? Any predictions at all? Oops. Maybe there's more coming in another season. That's why he said this is where the fun begins. No, the fun should have began 2 episodes ago. Because
that's a
4 episodes
ago. On that thought. Like even if like for the chance that they went for a season 2, like one of my friends brought this up in online, and even if they did, how would like as mid as this episode was, how would they be able to top it? Like as good as a lot of the content that we are getting and some of the bad content that we are getting as well, how would they be able to top like a new season of Kenobi? So it's like they were touching up on that, but I don't have any predictions right now because I don't know what's gonna happen aside from like hopefully getting. I'm still holding on to Clone Wars like flashbacks or like the final brawl. Maybe
so they can still do it. They can still do the flashbacks. You know what I mean? They could start right. The way they can do it.
Yes,
is
please.
They have Vader and Obi-Wan in their fight. So obviously, I'm pretty sure it's like 100% confirmed, but just for sake, we're pretty sure that they fight again, right? So, in my opinion, the only way they can really do the flashbacks now without the back to tank that would make sense is say we get a fight scene with Vader and Kenobi that lasts a couple minutes, and it's a really stalemate like it kind of was in Revenge of the Sith for a long time. Like they're just fighting and nothing's really happening. No one's winning or losing. And then they start getting some dialogue thrown in there, and then someone says something, like either Obi-Wan says something to Vader or Vader says something to Obi-Wan, maybe about Satine or maybe about Padme, and then you get a close-up and like Kenobi's like, oh shit, like he's like he's obviously thinking, or Vader's like obviously thinking, and boom, you get some flashbacks. You get your flashback scenes or whatever, and then you come back to the fight scene, and then they can wrap it up after that. That's the only way they can do it now. If Kenobi gets into a back to tank next episode, and then we get to flashbacks, I'm gonna turn the fucking show off because he was already in it. There's no way he just did all this.
What's troubling me so much is that it's the last 2 episodes, and I feel like they're gonna cram in so much that I'm not gonna be able. I know, but it's like
it's their own fault.
It should have been done already. We should have had some kind of Clone Wars indication, Satine, Padme, just something by now already. The only thing, so you mentioned as far as predictions go, you think they're going to be heading back to Alderaan?
No, I'm saying I hope they don't. That wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
What I want to happen is that they catch the tracker, they realize it's there, and use it to their advantage. That's what I'm
Got it. I think
if they go to Alderaan, sorry to cut you off again.
No,
if they go to
fine.
Alderaan, it doesn't make any sense. It won't connect to the original trilogy. Continue.
It doesn't. What we're hoping to happen is they find the tracker. They go to this path location. Obi-Wan maybe sees the start of this rebellion happening. And then, boom, they start preparing for this Imperial that's coming towards them.
Yeah.
So they have to go to this unknown location of some sort and find this path, and it's just so many questions. Is Leia's dad going to meet him there to pick up this child? Is this child going to be kidnapped again, which I don't want happening?
Well, that's the thing is they've done the same thing twice already. Exactly the same thing.
And then at that point, Bail's cover is blown.
That's what I'm saying.
If he meets them at the path or goes to Alderaan, like you said, regardless, if Bail's there, his cover is blown. Everything is not going to make sense.
It still doesn't make sense though, because they know Leia is his daughter. They don't know that he's she's adopted, but like they already know. It's like that's just why it doesn't already make sense, is because his cover should already be blown at this point. Unless they want him to just be like, oh, you took my daughter, I'm an Imperial officer, so it doesn't matter. or I'm part of the Senate, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like
don't you remember when Leia admits to Reva, "Let me call my father first"?
Right.
Before admitting to those things, and then you don't know, because when Reva went into this database between the link between Obi-Wan and Leia to find, steal the child and stuff, she didn't see that Bail Organa is the daughter or the father of Leia.
No, she does. That's the thing.
Does.
She already says it because she says he's a Jedi sympathizer.
Right.
So how is he just normal? Like, how is he okay now? Like, do we even know where he is in the original trilogy, or is he dead by then? Do we know? I don't know.
Bail.
In the original trilogy?
Yeah, is he on Alderaan when they blow it up? Is that?
Yeah, I think he is.
He would be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of the last times that we see Bail Organa, like, because we didn't really get him in the original trilogy. It was Rogue One
and Rebels.
Right.
Yes, and Rebels.
Wait, he's in Rogue One?
Yeah.
I don't remember that for some reason.
When they finally capture Jyn Erso and they're talking with Mon Mothma, and then he approaches out of the shadows.
Yeah. You're right. Yep.
And then at the very end, like when the rebel ships come to Scarif, they're sent by Bail.
Right. You're right. My mom says yes, he's on Alderaan.
So
So I mean, but like that just doesn't connect now that I'm thinking about it, because like they know he's a Jedi sympathizer. Why is he just allowed to still be part of the Empire? He's obviously he's eventually just part of the rebels. Maybe that's what this leads to. But like, as of right now, he's still, no one knows that he was a Jedi sympathizer and that worked with the Jedi. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
What I think might foolishly happen is if they find the location of this path and they know that Bail is a Jedi sympathizer, what I don't want happening again is this another rescue mission of them going to Alderaan and kidnapping the father or the mother of Leia to lure them back. It's enough kidnapping people. It's like, we're done.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's in short, there's not much they can do now that'll make sense and that'll make this better. Other than like what I said, in my opinion, because if they go back to Alderaan and drop Leia off, they're going to know. Right. And then what is Reva just going to come capture again? Like you said, like the first 4 episodes are literally just pairs. They do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like Kenobi goes and saves her. She gets kidnapped again. Kenobi goes and saves her.
Repeat.
Are we going to do the same thing a third time? Like it doesn't make sense, because then there's 10 years after. They don't try to capture her again for 10 years. Why? If they've already tried to capture her 3 times in a week, why have they not tried to capture her a 4th time in 10 years? You know, obviously Vader captures her in A New Hope, but that's literally because she does something against the Empire and she steals the plans. You know what I mean? So they have a reason to capture her. Right now, their only reason is to get to Kenobi. But in 10 years, they just do they leave it on a cliffhanger where they think they kill Kenobi at the end of the show?
That's what I'm thinking. But
that
like
still doesn't make sense, because
it doesn't.
Vader knows he's there in A New Hope, and he doesn't say, "Oh, I thought you were dead." He says, "I was the learner, and you were the master, but now I'm the master." So what are we gonna do? Like that's what I'm saying is I don't have any predictions other than what I just thought of, because I've been thinking about it all week and I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
There's just nothing they can do, in my opinion. My mom says he's the link to pull Kenobi out. What do you mean? I don't know what
You're talking about Bail?
Yeah, she's talking about Bail. Bail is the link to pull Kenobi out.
Out of what?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. You're being crazy.
Oh, that's your mom? Oh, sorry, Mom.
No, it's
fine.
What we're gonna say, Amber?
Well, no, I was just gonna ask what that one comment was earlier that was a bit strange, and or the TikTok.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll get to TikTok thing, but I'll tell you that after.
So kind of like as like one of the thoughts I'm having right now, right? Because I know we talked about it like after the first 2 episodes, or after episode 3 is like, you know, say you know for the thing of, you know, the series ends, and then, you know, then everything goes off to everything that happens in Rebels. Like what more do we get of the Inquisitors in this series? Because like honestly, like I was expecting like a lot more like battles in for like the Inquisitors, and that's not me saying that the content has been bad, but it's the from my understanding, like the Inquisitors, they're they're ruthless. They Sidious sends them after Vader to keep him on his toes and everything. They're supposed to be ruthless, like warriors of Sidious, but I feel like we're not getting like the right amount of Inquisitor like.
Right, like they're kind of in like I understand what you're saying. They're kind of like in a gray area. Like we're not getting Inquisitors, but we're also not getting enough. So like I don't want. That's the thing is I agree with what you're saying. I don't want them to focus too much on the story of the Inquisitors. I want them to bring in more action from the Inquisitors because so far they've been on the same planet as Kenobi 3 times.
Right.
And they haven't fought him once. They're supposed to kill Jedi. Like they haven't done anything.
And I mean, we get a lot of Inquisitor content in Rebels. Like I'm just saying, like we get a lot of fight scenes, a lot of like everything.
What
and it's only 4 years after this happens.
Right.
Or
that's
6
what
years
I'm saying.
after
Like,
this
I'm
happens.
trying to figure out what else they're gonna do with the Inquisitors in the last 2 episodes to like, and then of course especially the Grand Inquisitor. I mean,
I'm just where is
my mom says because they know how Bail was connected to Kenobi. I still have no idea what you're saying. Pull Kenobi out of what? What are you saying, bro? I'm about to call her. But yeah, so like I said, I don't really have too many predictions. I really am just super disappointed. I liked it before this episode. I was still like iffy about it because there's still some little things, but with this episode, I'm really taken out of it, and I'm just super disappointed. And like I said, I'm just not excited. The hype is gone because it's been 4 weeks or 3 weeks technically, but like the hype from it just starting is gone, and I'm kind of like a clear mind. I'm not super hyped anymore. I'm kind of just like analyzing as I go now. But like
because we don't know like where it's going really.
Right. Yeah, so like just my hype of Hayden's back and Ewan's back is like not there anymore because it's just not meeting expectations. And I didn't go in with more expectations than I wouldn't even be that mad if they didn't do Clone Wars flashbacks if the show was good. But at this point, they need stuff like fan service like that to make it good because it's not good. It's just not. It's just not enough. This is Kenobi and Anakin. We've said it 100 times. This is the main 2 characters of Star Wars. It needs to just be better. And this isn't the TikTok thing I wanted to talk about, but there was another TikTok that's on this topic. Like I said, I've said it a million times. Star Wars Theory, I'm a huge fan of him. He's another podcast that I listened to a while, and I've watched his content for years. He always has a really strong opinion on it. There's been times where Disney hasn't sponsored him or done stuff with him because he tells the truth. Like a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube got invited to the Galactic Star Cruiser and talk super good about it. But everybody else that's been with their own money says it's shit and it sucks. Like Carly went and she said it wasn't the best. She said it wasn't horrible, but it also wasn't the best thing ever. And I trust her more because they didn't just invite her to go and she didn't go for free or whatever. So like he's the same way. Like he's voicing his opinion about Kenobi and he's saying that this is supposed to be perfect. Everyone's like, oh, well, it can't be perfect. But it has to be. This is Kenobi and Anakin, like I said. And I saw this, I don't remember whose content it was, but I saw this guy. He's like, they're just calling him a whiny baby. He always cries. He never likes what he gets. And he should just be happy with what we're getting. And that mindset to me is just so weak. Like, if you don't like something, speak up about it. Like, I'm not going to just be like, oh, well, we got Kenobi content. It may not be as good as I wanted to, but okay. No, fuck that, dude. It's not as good as I wanted it to be. And I didn't even have the biggest expectations for it. All I wanted was some Clone Wars flashbacks and good fight scenes with Kenobi and Vader. That is it. That is it. I didn't ask for anything else. So why are we doing this? My mom just sent me a huge thing about
message.
Bail Organa rescues Obi-Wan Kenobi from his clone troopers following Order 66. Yeah. And the 2 rescue Yoda. Yeah, we know that. This technically counts as Kenobi's and Organa's worked in the Clone Wars.
Get out.
Yeah, we knew that, but I don't understand what you're saying. Pull Kenobi out of what? He saves Kenobi. We know that. He pulled Kenobi out of Order 66.
He did a bop it, twist
I think
it.
She doesn't understand what we're asking.
That's okay.
Amber, I sent you a message on Instagram saying what the message said. Okay, yeah, we'll read that after.
Cool.
But yeah, anyways, So ending the Kenobi stuff before we talk about the other TikTok that I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
You guys got anything to wrap it up? I think we've all hit pretty much most of the points I wanted to talk about.
Not any more points. Like, of course, like, in you're watching every episode, like in the moment, like I absolutely think like it's awesome right off the top of the bat, like that, and that's just me. Like I'm happy go lucky with everything
Right.
Star Wars. And everything that we're talking about, it some people may come across like super negative, but it's all just conversation, really.
Right.
I was just putting that point out there for anyone that maybe comment later.
Yeah, so if you look up Star Wars Theory, there's this. He had a podcast one day where it was a couple of Darth Chaka. You guys know Chaka?
Yeah,
he's big on TikTok. He was in this, and then they called it like the Council or something. I didn't really listen to the podcast back then, but I would watch like clips. This kid, he invited a couple smaller YouTubers, like with a couple thousand followers, onto this podcast to talk, and this kid basically was like, "Hey, like, I really don't like how you talk about Star Wars, and I like your content, but like you have a big platform, so you shouldn't talk like this." And he was like, "Whoa, bro, like where is this coming from? This is my podcast that I invited you on.
Right.
Why are you trying to tell me how I should talk?" Dude, if I had 2 million followers right now, I would still be saying the same thing. I don't care.
Right.
If I lose a sponsor, like if Disney sees this and 5 years later I'm like huge on TikTok and YouTube, I'm like one of the biggest Star Wars, and they don't sponsor me because they've seen this, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
right.
I don't care. Like, I don't want the money. I'm very passionate about Star Wars. I would throw away a contract with Disney if they're fucking it up this bad. Like I said, I'm still hopeful. The hope is very small. It's not over, so I won't completely.
We need a new hope.
But just saying.
Okay. Got the.
Like I said,
if
I had to throw away a whole Disney sponsorship, if they offer me $100,000 right now to be like, "Hey, talk about Star Wars this way," I would tell them to fuck off. I really would. I don't. You're not going to buy me out. You're not going to tell me how I should talk. Like, it's just, that's why we live in America, so we can say what we want to say. You know what I mean?
And I think that goes universally, just hand in hand with any type of content that you put out there in general, whether it's your TikTok or this or that. It doesn't always have to be quote unquote Disney friendly. It doesn't always have to cater towards Disney's standard now of Star Wars. And even before Lucasfilm's standard of Star Wars, we have a voice, we have an opinion, we have everything that we want to say about this fandom. That's what makes a community, both good and bad. We're here to just voice our opinions on the show. You can love it, you can hate it, whatever. But you put this stuff out there, and if you're not going to take criticism or have like-minded people that maybe voice another side that might open a different perspective, conversations will never be had, and everything will be boring, and it's just Star Wars.
Well, I will say, it is, so social media, I feel like a lot of people take it for granted just because of the fact that, like, you really do put yourself out there in a lot of ways when you're posting constantly. We all may not post the most like controversial stuff. Like, me and KT, like, we post just a lot of transition stuff. I know, like, Amber posts like her transitions and stuff like that. Like, we don't really do a lot of stuff like talking about like opinions other than the podcast. And we're only really just talking about a show at this point. So we're not really talking about anything super controversial, but at the same time, you're putting yourself out there for people to watch and for people to critique you. I mean, you're going to get likes. You're going to get people who don't like your stuff. You're going to get people who don't like it enough to comment something bad. And, I have the least amount of followers.
Creepy people too.
Right. I have the least amount of followers compared to you guys. Like, I know, Amber, you got a bunch compared to us. KT,
Amber's over 10K over here. I mean,
yeah. KT, what do you? She's at what? You're at like 20 something, right?
I'm at 29.5.
Yeah, you're up there. KT, you're almost at like 10K, right?
No, I'm almost to 5K. Actually.
Oh, okay. I thought you had like 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm about to hit 2. So if you guys are watching this, and you don't follow me, I'm only 40 away from 2.
But that's okay. But to put it to perspective with that, that's the other thing about it is that you came to me on a live stream asking if you wanted me to have a custom saber done, and that's how the connection was made.
Right.
Followers don't matter.
Right,
You
exactly.
should humble yourself to
Sure.
the point of sitting down and building connections and having a conversation with somebody. You have a lot of people just in general, not in the Star Wars community in specific, but just in general on social media that are just like power hungry because I have X amount of followers. When you can sink down to somebody's level, know that you started at the same place and just sit and have a conversation with them and build like a fun relationship.
To add to that, I mean, yeah, like I said, we're all hanging out and we're all super different follower count wise. But like, even for me, you know, my first episode, I had Master Allen and Inquisitor Akula, and Master Allen at the time had like 30 something K, I think. And then Akula had like almost 70. I think he just hit 70. Like, I didn't do anything other than just message them on a Discord and be like, hey, do you guys want to do it? And, you know, when I first started, I had 100 followers because I went around to all my coworkers and my friends and family and said, hey, go follow me. I'm starting to post Star Wars stuff. And they were like, okay, cool. I had 150 followers. I posted one video and it got like 900 views or like 1,600 views. And I was just at work. I was refreshing the page. I was like, holy shit, like I'm getting 1,600 views on the video. And then Akula literally stitched my video and was like, look at, he's learning my stuff. And like just someone posting about it, that I told him on the podcast, I'm like, that really like boosted my confidence, you know? And like I said, now we're here. I did a podcast with Carly. I'm cool with Carly now. We're friends. And like, she's got 1.5 million. Like, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And it's just a perfect example. Like, don't let follower count get and don't let the critique get like, don't let social media get to you at all. Like, okay. So as much as I know cyberbullying like affects certain people, like so obviously everybody takes critique differently and people, you know, take cyberbullying differently. Like, in my opinion, though, it's as easy as going, boop, turn it off. I know it gets really hard when you have a lot of followers and you get a lot of hate or something, but like at the same time, it's just social media. You have to know that you're putting yourself out there.
You are.
And you're going to get backlash either way because that's just how people are. I made my connection with Jake by asking to build him a Discord server. Now I chat with Jake and Kieran, and they both follow me. I would talk to Star Wars with you, Amber, but you don't follow me. Damn.
I will follow you. What's your account?
That's a good question though. We'll talk about it after. But he makes the Discords, and I think he offered to make you one. So if you want one,
yeah. I mean, even without offering, if anybody just wants to chat about Star Wars, and that's why I also because. You could go on a whole other topic, but as a female in Star Wars, I post things unintentionally. My body's the way it is. I don't try to go out and clout chase because body this and, you know, body part this and that or whatever. But admittedly, I can show you screenshots. Somebody has sent me a DM before asking for private farting videos.
Nice.
So you...
Lovely.
Hey, whoever that was, hit me up. We might be able to work something out.
You have people also as a female in Star Wars that get really, really, really creepy and are a little bit much sometimes. And I go through and I don't respond to those people. That's why I'm also very selective on the ways in which I post and blah, blah, blah. But it shouldn't be like that. You know, you just
that's something
post
I
as you will.
Like I definitely understand it, but I can't relate at all, obviously, because I'm not a female.
No, but
I know plenty of female creators at this point, and I understand. So
so it's some respect, but you know what I go through? I don't post about it and do whatever. It's delete. Delete. I go through. It sucks to read sometimes, but you just go and delete it, and you just don't make it a big deal. You know you're going to get that. It's the internet. That's just that's outside of Star Wars. You know.
It's funny that this conversation even took this turn because it's kind of leading into the whole thing I wanted to talk about. I was in the car with my wife yesterday. We were going to our appointment for our second child. We were getting another sonogram, but
congratulations.
Thank you. But I saw this video. You guys may or may not follow him. No hate to him, man, because the video is really not that bad. It's just the way he responded to some of the comments. The video is bad, but it's dark humor, and I'm all for dark humor. Like, if you guys know me in person, I think it's the funniest shit ever.
I know what you're thinking.
I think it's hilarious. Like, I'm all for it. You know, me and my friends we make some of the darkest dark humor jokes ever. Like when we're in private, you know, that's just stuff you don't really like. I wouldn't personally put out there. Obviously, it's his content. He can put it out there if he wants. I'll say who it is just because if he has an issue with me talking about it, he shouldn't have put it out. That's it. Like if you have an issue with someone talking about your content, don't put it out. But if you guys follow him, he's got like 400K. His name's Garcheek on TikTok. He's sponsored by Saber Theory.
Yeah.
He has a Mandalorian outfit now, or a cosplay now.
Yeah.
So the video he posted the other day, he got popular off of the versus videos. You've probably seen him where he goes, "Who would win?" And it's him and his girlfriend like doing different stances.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I know
Yep.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. I saw your face. You were a little confused, so I tried to figure out how I could tell you who it was.
Thanks.
Anyways, so he posted a video yesterday, and like I said, the video, I don't have an issue with it because, unfortunately it happened. It's a real tragedy.
Right.
But like I said, dark humor exists and people think it's funny. But
Right.
he posted a video of him putting his Mandalorian armor on and he said, American kids getting ready for school. Right. So it is a little fucked up, but it is dark humor. That's how it's supposed to be. Right. So I was like, okay, I have to go into the comments. I don't really read comments on other people's stuff a lot, but I was like, I got to go in the comments and see what people are saying because I know people are going to get butthurt about this. Like I said, I don't have an issue with the video. You can argue that it's fucked up, but it's dark humor, so get over it. But the way he responded to this specific comment, I don't have the receipts right now. I have screenshots of it. I could pull them up and read them, but I don't need to do that. Someone said something about, hey man, I would appreciate if you didn't joke about this. I just lost a friend in a shooting. Mm-hmm. And he responded and said, well, they should have worn Beskar. And, as a joke by itself with no context towards anybody, it's okay. But when you go, like I said, if you guys don't feel comfortable with like putting your input in on this because you don't want beef with anybody, I don't try to start beef, and I'm not trying to start beef by talking about this. I just wanted to mention it because I know a lot of people say, oh, Star Wars fans are so toxic. And like I said, it's his page, so he can do whatever he wants. But when someone comments something like, hey, I lost a friend, maybe DM them or even comment back and be like, hey, I'm really sorry that this offended you, but this is my page. Like, that's what I would do. I would DM them or I would comment back, but I wouldn't continue the dark humor joke at their expense. Like, this person is saying, hey, they could have just scrolled by or reported or whatever. Fair. But they felt the need to comment and say, hey, I lost somebody in this way. I don't really agree with this. But to push the joke further and be like, well, they should have worn Beskar. And then he even said, like, this is what he said after. Someone replied to that and said something about it. And he goes, well, sorry about your dead friend, but this is my page. I'll post what I want. Something along those lines. Like I said, I'm not bringing up the screenshots because I don't want to get that deep into it. But, like, it's just super unsensitive. And I get it. I do. But, like, come on, man. Like, it's just a little much. I was going to make a video about it and start some shit because it really pissed me off. But after thinking about it, I don't really want to do that.
It's not worth it. It's just, for me, the unfollow button is there.
Yeah.
That is all I have to say.
The only reason I haven't unfollowed him is because I want to see if anything happens with it.
Right. No, that's fine. Yeah, for me, the unfollow button was there. I am not going to share anything right now. I will share something with you guys after this as far as my personal opinion. Right. But as far as public things, all I have to say, just like the delete button, the unfollow button is there as well.
Right. And I'll leave it at that as well. I don't want anybody, like, if anybody's here, don't go hate on his page. I don't want all that shit to start. Like, that's what I was thinking. When I first saw it, I was like, dude, I'm going to start some fucking beef because this pissed me off. Like I said, the video doesn't bother me. It is what it is. It's dark humor. People joke about 9/11, bro, and that's like way worse of a tragedy if you ask me. Like, that was way more people or whatever.
The Holocaust, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Right.
People make jokes about that.
Right.
Obviously, those were a longer time ago, so like people have had time to heal and be able to joke about it. Right. But like this just happened, and that was another thing he said. It was like, oh, it's always a bad time to joke about this in America because it's like, and that's the other thing. He's not even from here, so it's like. That's what makes it like more okay in my opinion because he doesn't really live that. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to be worried about that. I have a child. She's going to be going to school. I already told my wife after that happened. I was like, I don't even know if I want to send her to school. I kind of want to homeschool her at this point. Like, that's scary as fuck.
Right.
But the fact that he's not in America makes it even more okay because he doesn't really understand. I don't think.
Right. It's whatever.
If you don't live that and that's not happening around you, you don't really get it. So whatever, man. But yeah, don't go hate on his stuff. I just wanted to bring it up as a Star Wars fan because a lot of people say, oh, we're the most toxic fandom, but most of us aren't. There is a lot of people that are, but like if you're going to come in here and think we're going to be the most toxic Star Wars fans, we're really not. We're all just people. We like I said,
follow, block,
If you don't like what I'm saying right
delete,
now, you
whatever.
can unfollow. I don't care.
Yeah,
just everyone has their,
don't
everyone's
agree.
entitled to their own opinions, own responses. Just know that,
Right.
like the internet itself, you're gonna get double opinions, just like this Kenobi show. You're gonna get both sides, and
Absolutely.
have people just say stuff about whatever, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Amber, it was a joke. You don't have to follow me if you don't want to. Yeah, don't follow him. He sucks.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm just happy that I get to talk with you all three of you got me
it's
back in
great.
Star Wars this year.
No, I'm gonna
Appreciate
go
that.
ahead and follow you back.
But yeah, so that's all I wanted to say about it. I didn't want to take too much time, but I mean,
No,
we're at
it's
about
fine.
an hour and a half again. We always wind up
No, it's
ending
perfect.
right at an hour and a half.
I'm all. That's all I got. I'm good.
Yeah. But all right, so we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. I would say I'm really excited for next episode,
Let's
but
just
I'm
see where
unfortunately
it goes.
not. I'm hopeful, but
Going
I
with
can't.
the flow at this point.
Yeah. I can't get my hopes up too much.
Just helicopter it. Let's
Yep,
just go.
helicopter all the way to
Let's
next
just go.
week.
Let's do it.
But all right, we're gonna go ahead and end it here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to our little our rant. Well, my rant.
Oh, good.
So we'll see you guys next week. Actually, real quick, I'm off, like I said, I'm off again next Friday. You guys are good for next Friday?
Sure.
Yeah.
Friday next week at 8:00 again. I'll see you guys there. Thanks for everybody stopping by. We had like 10 people in here the whole time, so good job.
Sick.
Guys. That was awesome. All right. Peace out.